Good morning, hi. My name's Raymond Gilfeder. I work for a company called REpower UK, who design, manufacture and install on and offshore turbines in the 1.8 to 6 megawatt class. What I really hope to try and convey today is the opportunity for local suppliers through the turbine supply contract within any wind farm. I'll cover three areas in the presentation this morning. The first one are the opportunities that come during the actual turbine installation phase of the project. The second one that's already been touched on is the long term. For us, the biggest opportunity in terms of continued opportunities for local suppliers, and that's the operation and maintenance programme, which normally lasts up to 20 years. And then the last point, which will lead on to onto a presentation by Maybe Bridges, supply of major turbine components, which largely up until now has been done by European and overseas manufacturers, but there is definitely progress being made in the UK in bringing some of that manufacturing capability back into the UK. So in terms of during the wind farm installation period, when we're actually installing the wind turbines, there are opportunities within the local supply chain for areas around plant hire, so that could be cranes, security, transportation, generators, tool and plant testing and calibration that will carry all the way through during the operation and maintenance period again. And our policy, and largely the policy that's been developed by turbine suppliers within the UK, and one that's been very much encouraged, is to use local contractors and local suppliers wherever possible. And we're very keen to share information to ensure that the timescales to bring the local supply chain onto the project are really supported. What I've put up here is a slide. This shows the coverage that REpower have in terms of service centres around the UK. The one that's of particular interest is the bottom left-hand corner, which at the moment shows that we have three full-time service engineers allocated to a relatively small wind farm in this area in comparison to the Pennycomoth opportunity. Again, this slide here is really just to show the service centre team that we have in Harwan, which would grow substantially with a wind farm of this scale. So within the 20-year operation and maintenance period, the way that we operate and the way that's typically operated in terms of the operation and maintenance phase of a wind farm, it's common for most turbine manufacturers. We would base our service teams locally. We would look to employ local resources. They would go through an intensive training process to ensure that they're competent to take on the role of a service engineer, and they would be based locally and service the wind farm over a 5 to 20 year period. We hold local spares on site, and this is really where the opportunities for using the local supply chain come in terms of testing of equipment, in terms of consumables that we can source locally. And again, our policy at REpower UK on all of our service centres that are currently operational is that we use local suppliers wherever possible. Okay, so other businesses that can be supported, I've touched on some of this, but HV contractors, tool calibration and certification. As you can imagine, certification is something that has to be done on a regular basis, and through a 20-year operation and maintenance period can bring significant business. Equipment and tool suppliers, again, plant supply and hire. The requirement for local plant supply doesn't end at the end of the turbine installation phase. There will be major components that need to be maintained that will require plant to come in from time to time. And then things like consumables, waste disposal, steel fabrication and repairs. I won't say any more on this slide other than we've been part of an initiative to start a programme to take apprentices on. This is aimed at really trying, again, to encourage building a skill base within the UK. Typically, skilled service engineers or engineers that were capable of doing the commissioning phase of a wind turbine or a wind farm would be brought over, again, from the European manufacturers. This initiative is really aimed at building that skill base within the UK. This was a scheme that was kicked off by the Scottish Government, but we see a similar opportunity on a wind farm of this scale in Wales, because it's something that you can really do with the local community. Look for young people within the community that have a level of competency, which means they can go on with the skills and training to become a highly competent service engineer. And that really brings me on to my last point, which is just to say the third area in terms of really significant local content is to try and bring some of the manufacturing capability for major components back into the UK. And that leads on to a presentation by Maybe Bridge on tower supply. Towers are a very significant part of any wind turbine